What's up guys, this is Alec. In today's episode we're going to be talking about cocktail trees. If you don't know what a cocktail tree is, well, it's a tree that is multi-grafted. I'm sure you see them everywhere for sale, nurseries. Every YouTuber out there is always talking about them because you know why? Because they get a lot of views. Why do they get a lot of views? Because they're not normal. It's not something that happens naturally in nature. It's man-made. But today I'm going to be telling you all the pros and cons of having a cocktail trees. Should you have one? Who are those trees for? And everything else about them. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk about what is a cocktail tree. That is a tree that is multi-grafted. Usually you have a base tree. It could be anything, grown from seed, rootstock, it doesn't really matter. But then what you do is you graft other varieties onto the same tree. So for those people who have limited space, this is a good tree to have because you have one main trunk, but on that trunk you can graft several varieties, like this one right here. This is a mulberry tree. The rootstock that I have is an everbearing mulberry. Why? Because those trees are not popular in my area. I had a lot of them several years ago and they were not selling, so I decided, you know what, let's just put them to use, and we grafted onto them. So we chopped them, and then as you can see over here, this is my graft. It took, looking beautiful, healthy. You see it's windy outside. So when grafting trees, the main thing that will kill them is the wind. It will dry out your scions and then they won't take. So you can see that's my graft right there. And what I did different this year is I put baggies over them simply because I didn't want them to dry out. So I got the green mulberry over here, which is one of the most popular varieties that we sell here at the nursery. And then on this side over here, I have the Pakistan mulberry. And you can see it's doing great. So who are these trees for? These trees are novelty trees. If you have friends, if you are a master gardener, or somebody that just started gardening, this is one of those trees that you buy just to be proud about, to brag to your friends that you have a multi-grafted tree. So you can explain to them exactly what I just told you. Now, okay, joking aside, these trees are usually meant for people with limited space. A lot of people, I realize, do not have the space to plant trees because most of the housing nowadays, well, most people don't have property. All you do is have a house with a tiny little backyard where you can barely put one tree. So if there's one tree that you can plant, well, a cocktail tree is going to be what you actually put in the ground because you get several varieties in one single tree. So over here I have several varieties. I have Shangri-La and green mulberry. I have Shangri-La and Pakistan mulberry. I don't think I did, actually yes, I did 3 varieties over here. If you look over here, I got 3 varieties. So here I got Pakistan mulberry, over here I got green mulberry, and then over here I have Shangri-La mulberry. And you can see they're waking up and looking great. So I decided to do this simply because nobody in my area has done it before. You see cocktail trees from every other variety, especially stone fruits, because they are very easy to graft. But nobody has, at least that I know, done mulberry trees, multi-grafted, because most of the nurseries in my area, all they do is buy and resell trees. And if the wholesaler doesn't have them, guess what? They don't sell them. So what are some of the pros of having a cocktail tree? Well, the main one is going to be space. You can have several fruits, different types, different varieties on the same tree. So if you have limited space, like let's say this Arizona sweet orange right here, you can graft other citrus varieties onto it. So let's talk about cocktail trees and how they actually work. So if you don't know about grafting, usually you have a main tree like this, and then what you do is you take a branch from a different variety within the same family. Like this one's a citrus, so any other citrus will work. And what you do is you graft it onto existing branching on that older tree, just like this one. As you can see over here, I have 2 grafts right here from sweet limes, Ponderosa limes. And you can see my cutting, it's still alive. It's hard to see, but the reason I put a baggie over this It's mainly because, well, it's outside and the wind's gonna dry them out. And that's gonna be one of the problems you're gonna have with grafting citrus is they need a high humidity, especially here in the desert. So I have two grafts right here because in case one fails, I have the other one. But this is an Arizona sweet orange right here. We like it, they taste good. But these oranges right here are mainly for juicing because you do need a knife to cut them because the skin is very tough to peel with your fingers. So I decided to graft other varieties onto it. So I have some branches coming out of it, and then so I picked two over here, and as you can see, so far they're still green, and it's been a few weeks, and that's a good sign because they would have dried out by now. So with cocktail trees, you don't really always have to buy them already grafted. If you have a tree in the ground, you can graft other varieties onto it. As long as the other varieties are fall under the same family of that main tree, they should take. A lot of people, like I said earlier, do stump fruits, like this apple tree over here. I forget what variety this is. I think it's either a Golden Delicious or a Golden Dorset. I got a video in my channel. But anyway, so this guy right here, I can easily graft other stump fruits onto it. I mean, not stump fruits, but apples. So I can pull other different varieties of apples, and I can have one single tree with several different varieties. One of the main attractions of cocktail trees is, well, when they fruit, it's super weird, super cool, and then people who are not used to seeing them, it's always a talk piece in your yard. Now that you understand a little more about cocktail trees or multi-grafted trees, let's talk about the cons. What are the main cons of growing a cocktail tree? And this is one of the things that nurseries are not going to tell you. People selling these trees are not going to tell you. I sell them, but guess what? I'm going to tell you the truth. Because here at my nursery, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about everything that you buy. So if you kill it or if you make the wrong choice, it's on you, not on me. So, check this out. The main problem you're gonna have with like my mulberry multi-grafted trees is the size. They will all grow at different rates because remember, they are different trees. So this is the green mulberry. If you've been watching my videos, you can see how big it was before last winter. You can see we cut it over there and it used to be a lot bigger. But this is a very vigorous tree. This tree right here is a Shangri-La mulberry. You can see it grows different than the green mulberry. This is more of like a weeping type of mulberry. As the branches get taller, they start weeping down into the ground. And the leaves are a lot bigger. So when you have cocktail trees, you have to understand you have several different types of trees growing on the same trunk. And the problem with them is, even though they're attached to the same trunk, each grafted part of the tree will grow independently. If one variety is stronger than the other, or it grows faster, or it gets more sun, it will grow faster than the other side. And even though they're both attached to the same trunk, like in this loquat tree right here, you can see I got a loquat in here. It's hard to see the main trunk. But this area right here is a champagne loquat. But this big thing right here, this is rootstock. They're both growing on the same trunk. But your grafted cocktail tree is going to behave the same way. And as you can see, the rootstock is actually bigger than the grafted part of the tree. And that brings us to the next part. So anything original, like the rootstock, is always going to outgrow anything that is not original to the main tree. As you can see, this one right here, this is huge. And guess what? If we don't take care of this one right here, eventually it's going to overtake the grafted part of the tree and it's going to shade this area. Is that a problem? Yes, that brings us to the next one. And that is, even though all the trees are grafted onto the same trunk, they behave and act independently. Meaning if one area gets more sun and the other gets too shaded, the one that's too shaded, it's not going to grow as fast as the one that gets more sunlight. It works that way, believe it or not. That's one of the things that I've noticed growing trees over the years is grafted trees. I don't care what anybody else says out there. They are never as strong as actual trees grown from cuttings or grown from seed. The original trees, the rootstock, will always outperform anything else you put on that tree. Always 100% of the time. So that's one of the main issues you're gonna have with the mulberry trees that I have for sale if you decide to purchase one. You're gonna have to keep pruning. You gotta make sure each branch, each variety gets enough sunlight. Because if you don't, the one that's stronger will overtake the weaker one. And what happens then? Well, the weaker one is gonna dry out and die 100% of the time. That's one of the main issues that I have with grafted trees. It's keeping up with the suckers. It's a full-time job, always pruning them off. Like this kumquats right here. You can see they're fruiting right now and they look really bushy. But not all that is the actual tree. You can see that right there. That is rootstock. That is rootstock right here. So these branches need to go. Need to cut them off. The actual grafted part of the tree is this branch right here. And this is gonna be the main problem you're gonna have with cocktail trees or grafted trees in general. You need to keep up with the pruning because if you don't, you're gonna lose everything. This is very common in my area, especially with citrus trees because they are so vigorous and they grow so fast. Especially when new people buying houses, they move in, they don't know what they have, the previous owners didn't take care of anything, and more likely than not, everything that you see growing, it's going to be rootstock, so you need to prune it off. It happens all the time. So if you have a tree like a citrus and you're not getting good fruit or it's not fruiting at all, most likely the rootstock took over the grafted part of the tree and you never noticed it. But anyways, so are cocktail trees good or bad? Well, that is up to you. To be honest, I don't really sell that many here at the nursery, and even when I do have them for sale, what I just told you is exactly what I tell all my customers, and everybody makes their own decisions after that. But what I like to do is I like to give you all the information because that way, if something happens, it's on you, not on me. So are they good? Are they bad? To be honest, they are a novelty thing. Will I have one myself? Of course I do. But remember, you got to keep up with the pruning and it's a lot more maintenance. If you just want a tree that you're gonna water and set and forget, a cocktail tree is not going to be for you. It takes a lot of work. But other than that, that's it. I mean, they're good trees, and then as long as you do the work, there's nothing bad about them. So as always, if you have any questions, don't forget to comment below. If you haven't liked the video, what are you waiting for? And I will see you next time.